So my name is Tim He, and I'm the Executive Director for the Center for Future Innovators. And I would like to especially thank all of our community partners today, the Chinese Neighborhood Parent Association, Youth Voices, Cornerstone International Education, Chicago 4-H International Club, and then especially all of our students who have taken the time out of their busy schedules and finals weeks to speak to us about their schools. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded so that other people can view it afterwards. And if you have any questions for any of our student panelists, please write it into the chat box. That way we can have a good record and we will answer all questions at the end. So today's agenda, we're going to start with Zach from Naperville North, and then Angela from Hinsdale Central. And then the rest will be in alphabetical order, the first two, because they do have other engagements tonight. So with that, oh, I see Angela, perfect. Let me just add her and make her co-host and we will begin. Awesome. All right, Zach, would you mind sharing your screen and introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. Just give me 2 seconds. So before I share my screen, I'll just briefly introduce myself. My name's Zach Wu. I'm a junior at Naperville North High School in Naperville, Illinois. It's one of the suburbs of Chicago, I'm sure you know. Outside of school, I'm captain of the debate team at North. I will be captain of the golf team coming in the coming fall. I've been in the Naperville 203 community district for sort of last 8-9 years. So I'm really excited to be sharing some of my insights about Naperville North High School. Tim, if it's cool with you, should I share a little bit about Youth Voices as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So alongside some of those extracurricular commitments and being a student at Naperville North High School, in the spring of 2020, me and one of my good friends from Naperville Central High School, which is across the river, we worked together to build a nonprofit platform called Youth Voices. And I'm going to just talk briefly about who we are and our mission. So Youth Voices, we're a registered 501c3 nonprofit in the state of Illinois. And we are, our core mission is to provide the best and most qualified mentors, speakers, and teachers to engage with our students and equip them with the tools for communicative and competitive success. Specifically, our main platform, our main method for doing so is through speech and debate. As I mentioned, I am the captain of the debate team here at North. So over the past year and a half or so, we have helped about 120 students through our ecosystem, through classes, special programs, camps, and things like that to help them build confidence, learn communication, and learn persuasion skills. Because ultimately at Youth Voices, we do think that those skills are really important to be any functioning member of society, whether you need to convince someone in a boardroom or defend a PhD thesis. I think all of those skills are super important. At Youth Voices, we're all about starting early and giving young students the confidence and the tools to be able to do that, both inside of a speech and debate round and outside through leadership. So just a couple components of our program. I won't talk too much about this. We have an open for all speech and debate club where we have free biweekly practices and sessions spent in small groups with some of the best high school student coaches in the country, period. It's a really good opportunity for anybody at any skill level to start thinking critically, to get their gears turning every Saturday night or so. It's a good opportunity to work peer-to-peer in small groups, things like that. We have activism opportunities throughout the year, special projects, special events, things of that nature. For members, we have discounted access to courses and camps with championship level coaches. We've achieved competitive excellence at the highest level at both middle school and high school level tournaments. We've different events and levels all year round, private coaching, competition opportunities, leadership development. If you need to hear more about it, go ahead, youthvoicesusa.org. A lot of that information is on our website, but I won't spend too much time on this component. If you want to hear more about Youth Voices, I'll put a link in the chat in a little bit. But let me switch over to my pretty little slide with Naperville North on it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Zach. And for those that have just joined us, that was Zach talking to us a little bit more about his nonprofit that he started with his friend, and that is Youth Voices. And my little brother is actually part of the group as well. He has really enjoyed his time as a member, and he is learning quite a lot about public speaking and expressing himself.
Yeah, and that is ultimately the goal. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to a Google form. If you want to be on our emailing list, go ahead and fill out that form. We'll get you connected with our program and such. But let's talk a little bit about Naperville North. So, oops. Okay. Let's try to figure out this screen share. So Naperville North High School is one of the sort of bigger public high schools in the Chicagoland area. I don't know if you guys can see my slideshow, but it doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, we don't see it. That's okay. Do you want to just try it without the slides?
Yeah, it should be fine. So Naperville North High School is one of the bigger public high schools in the Chicagoland area. I think each graduating class from freshman up to senior is about 650 to 700 students per graduating class. So the graduating class sizes are relatively big. That being said, I think there's like three main things that I'd like to discuss as a part of the Naperville North experience that I think are sort of pretty characteristic of the typical Naperville North student. I think number one, I'm sure that most of the kids in this room and the parents in this room are sort of high achieving students who are looking to find the best curricular and extracurricular options for their kids. The main thing with Naperville North is that there is a really high diversity of academic and extracurricular options. So if you go to the Naperville North course catalog, you just Google NNHS course catalog. A lot of this information will apply for Naperville Central, which is across the street essentially. But essentially we have a lot of AP classes, a lot of honors classes in a lot of different concentrations. So especially I think for a lot of students in this room who are probably figured out what they want to do or what their academic interests are, Naperville North has some of the best teachers in the country in all of the high level classes that you could ever want to take essentially. So that's I think one of the main things about being at Naperville North is that whatever you're interested in terms of academics, we have the best classes and teachers and peers available. It's a really good academic environment. As a student who's been in a lot of honors and AP classes, we have really good teachers. Our sort of system at Naperville North is conducive to being a successful AP student, if that's something that characterizes you or your student. But then outside of the classroom, I think one of the main selling points of being a Husky at Naperville North is that there are so many clubs and like teams and different extracurricular groups that you can get involved in. As I mentioned, I'm on the debate team. I play varsity golf. I've dabbled in like a dozen different clubs and all of them have been super welcoming. Walking into Naperville North as a freshman, you're always going to have a place to be. You're always going to have a sort of community of people with similar interests as you that you can find in a club setting, that you can find in an extracurricular setting. So I obviously don't know what each and every one of you are interested in, but I'm sure that whether it's, politics or computer science, or literally like ultimate Frisbee, we have something at Naperville North. And if there isn't, it's actually really easy to start a club at Naperville North. I've had friends in my sort of circles that have started their own clubs and they've been really successful. So just in general, I think the two main things at Naperville North to keep in mind is that when you walk in through the door as a freshman, there's always a place for you. You're always going to find a group of people that you really resonate with, whether that be in the classroom or outside of the classroom. But I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted me to specifically address, Tim.
Yeah,
but
I had a quick question. So with you as somebody who has so many other extracurricular and other things going on, do you feel that the school and the administration and the teachers themselves are supportive of somebody who has that many things going on?
Yeah, so I've sort of struggled with managing a workload, sort of, especially during the pandemic, because it just sort of throw things out of balance really easily. But one thing that I've really appreciated about my teachers, especially this year, I think everybody here can acknowledge that being an upperclassman, a junior, a senior in high school is super challenging. It doesn't matter what high school you go to, really. It will be challenging, especially if you're looking to be a high achieving student. One thing I really appreciate about my teachers at Naperville North is that they are conscientious of that reality. They're conscientious of like the packed schedules of a lot of the students that are sitting in their classrooms. So we get a lot of flexibility. We get a lot of sort of leniency, even, especially coming down the stretch in final season when things get really packed. Our administration, our counselors, our teachers have really created an environment where it is competitive. I'm not going to deny that it is super competitive, but it doesn't feel competitive, right? Being in the classroom with those teachers is always it's always a joy. I haven't had any problems with any teachers sort of just like blowing off our mental health or not giving us any flexibility or rest. That's been a big pro.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Zach. Now, the last question we have that I'm going to ask every single student here today: what 3 words would you use to describe your school?
Sure. I think our school word this year, not really sure who came up with it or where it came from. Our school word this year is driven. If you walk into a Naperville North hallway, the word driven in like orange and blue, decorated with like huskies pulling things, is everywhere. So that's our like school word. I thought it was really fitting because I think Naperville North students are super driven. This might just be as a result of some of like the more challenging academic environments that I've been in, but I think that Naperville North is everywhere you go, it's like it is a driven environment, whether you're a student athlete or you're just like a high achieving student. I think that people at Naperville North, they have intention and they act with purpose, and I think they do have drive. That being said, I would say another one. It is, I feel like, a very inclusive school. I've been a kid. I've read about high school cliques and that kind of culture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see as much of that at Naperville North as you would have probably assumed from pop culture, television, things like that. I think that it's a very welcoming place. I don't think that you'll ever have to struggle with fitting in. The people are really kind. All the teachers are really kind. I haven't really had any mean teachers in all my 3 years. Seems pretty good. And then lastly, third word, I honestly think the best word to use to describe sort of just like the interactions between me and my classmates is just it's very like down to earth. It's very genuine. There's not a lot of like, I think in high level, like in big public high schools, there's a lot of competitions, like very cutthroat.
Mm-hmm.
Almost seems like it's not really that way at Naperville North, even though we have a lot of high achieving students. Like if you look at our like SAT scores, you look at our national merit performance, you look at AP scholars, all those metrics, Naperville North is a very high performing high school, but the culture doesn't, it errs towards the side of being just sort of more down to earth. And I think the culture is one of the big things. I have never had any problems with classmates or peers, like doing anything out of the ordinary or like anything sort of malevolent in intention.
Mm-hmm.
We're all sort of like friends. We all support each other. It is just a very down to earth and genuine environment to be in. And I think that's obviously a good thing. So yeah, those are my 3 words. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Zach. And I know you have some other engagements going on, but if you could join us for a little bit more, that'd be awesome. If you can't, that's totally okay. We really appreciate you being able to come today.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. It's good to speak to everyone. I will stick around for a little bit though. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Next up, we have Angela from Hinsdale Central. Hi, Angela.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. All right. Do you have a couple slides that you can share?
Yes, one second. I have a slide.
And
Um,
and then before we get into your school, could you please just give a couple sentences introduction about yourself?
yeah, for sure. So, hello, my name's Angela. I'm a current junior, no longer in high school. I'm a junior at Penn now. So high school has been a couple years back, but I'll speak to the best authority I can. I went to Hinsdale Central High School, located in Hinsdale, Illinois. And overall, honestly, I can just talk about my personal experience and the fact that I think coming in, I came from a very small middle school called Butler Junior High. We had a graduating class of around like 50 students. So I really was worried that I wasn't prepared for like a bigger high school like Hinsdale Central, where I think we had like 3,000 people in my graduating class. But coming in, I realized that it's actually a really good place that has a good mix of classes that really push you harder, as well as classes that you can just kind of like let loose and kind of enjoy. So there's still a lot of teachers I think about and I try to visit whenever I come back to winter break, because I think a lot of the people at Hinsdale Central, or at least most of them, do genuinely care for you. And it's definitely been a lot of good memories from that school. In terms of clubs I've been part of, personally, I was part of the varsity badminton team, the speech team, as well as their Business Professionals of America team. Speech team was like a huge commitment for me. And honestly, I think Zach mentioned this, but like speech was extremely helpful for me going into interviews, interviewing for college, interviewing for jobs, all of that good stuff. And hopefully makes me just like a better, more well-rounded speaker. So that's always good. I have a couple pictures here. This is just Hinsdale Central. This is our mascot, who is a little bit creepy looking, but that's okay because
What is your mascot?
oh yeah, so our mascot is the Red Devils, but it's like
Oh,
totally okay, right? It's like totally not problematic. But
I love it.
yeah. My current mascot's the Quaker, and the Quaker looks infinitely more scary than the Red Devil. So I'm actually like, we've only just gone worse from Hinsdale Central. That was me at state for badminton. And yeah, that's it. Overall, like chopped salad. Like we have good high school food. Like we had good chopped salad. We had pizza puffs. That's better than most of the food at Penn right now. And
Yeah.
also, it's just a diverse place to meet different teachers, clubs, and friends. So overall, great high school, great experience, and we'll love to talk more about it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing that little bit. So what do you think, or what parts and experiences from Hinsdale Central do you think prepared you for college?
Yeah, for sure. So I think especially when you go to college, you realize that there are so many different types of schools that a lot of people are coming from. And what Hinsdale Central does really well is essentially prepare you to be a good studier so you can work hard and are prepared for a lot of college courses. And sometimes you're even more than enough, like more than enough prepared. Like I know a lot of friends, they went to college and they're like, wow, the classes here are so much easier than how I had it in Hinsdale Central. And I think honestly, like my freshman year, my classes were so easy compared to like my high school classes because I was so well prepared. So
Mhm.
overall, academically, it prepares you really well. And overall, it's just a really good social experience and something I really enjoyed.
That's awesome. So do you feel like with how large the school is, was it was it really difficult to really meet everybody in every department in every little class, or did you kind of more separate into smaller friend groups? How was that experience like for you?
Hmm. Okay, I think I see what you're asking. I'd say that it's important to definitely keep a wide range of clubs. And I think overall, like in general, you do kind of develop your own friend network of friends that you do become closer with. But like I was part like badminton team, BPA, speech, that are all different people, but being able to kind of be friends with all different types of people was really fun for me. And I did enjoy the kind of different environments I get to be in. And I guess the advantage of Hinsdale Central is nobody you meet is like going to necessarily know another friend of yours. So you kind of get to meet like
Mm,
all different social areas of the school. And I really enjoyed that.
awesome. All right, last question for you is our 3 words. What 3 words would you use to describe Hinsdale Central?
I say that number one, they're definitely extremely supportive. I remember my badminton coach and my different like high school teachers, they were all like, hey, I can write your letters of recommendation. I can do this and this, like, just let me know. Or they're like, hey, like I heard about this, congratulations. And I realized like a lot of people do genuinely care for you and look for your growth. I would also say that it's a very diverse place. So there's all different kinds of clubs, from sports clubs to like more academic clubs. And there's also different kinds of classes. I think similar to what Zach was saying about his high school. And that's something that you can really take advantage of. And finally, I'd say that, yeah, I think the cafeteria food was pretty good. I think coming to college, the dining hall food is not great here. So definitely really miss the $2 little bowls of pasta that I had every single day back in high school.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. I went to U of I for my undergrad, and sometimes it just really depends on the dorm you're in. Sometimes the food is okay. Sometimes it's like, I'd rather, just stop at Walmart to grab something, anything.
Yeah, precisely.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Angela, for your time. And if you could stick around for our question and answering section at the end, that would be fantastic. If you can't, that's okay too.
All right. I think I do have some stuff after, but if anybody has any questions, they can just email me. I'll type my email in the chat.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Angela.
All right, no problem.
Okay, next on our list, we have Nick. I did not see Nick earlier. Let me see if he...
Oh, I can't turn on my video because it says the host has stopped it.
Oh, no worries, Nick. Let me make you a co-host. Give me 1 second. Oh, Nick, what is your name on here?
Oh, it's Nicholas Chen.
Nicholas.
Might be
Okay.
it. Sorry about that.
Perfect. Found you. And now you are a co-host. You should be able to turn on your video.
Awesome. All right. I just have a picture of my school so we could screen share really quick. So hi, y'all. My name is Nick. I'm a freshman at American University this year. And before I came to college, I went to Conant High School for 4 years. So just a brief background about the school. Conant's relatively like a medium-sized school, like 500 students per class. So it's pretty big, but not too small or too large either. In terms of in-class experience and the classes that I took, I think all of my classes were not very challenging, but also very flexible. There was a lot of different AP class offerings that you could take as early as your freshman year. And if you communicated with your teachers, they were really flexible with how they worked with you in terms of homework and assignments, right? And that also kind of feeds into the next aspect of high school life, which is really extracurricular activities. So I did chess, BPA, and then debate team in high school for 4 years. And I think all three of those activities are really a big part of my high school experience going up. Like even today, I'm still a debate coach for Youth Voices because of just how big of a deal it was for me. I think one of the biggest strengths about my high school was the variety of extracurricular opportunities that they had, and also the diversity in both the student body and the clubs that they had. You had a lot of Black and Asian affinity groups, for example, but you also had a lot of traditional clubs like debate, chess, math team, science team, right? And all of those programs are very, very strong. I think one thing that distinguishes Conant from a lot of the other academically strong schools in the area is that they're a lot more STEM focused than usual. One of the biggest programs at the school, which I think has like 80 members, which is insane for an extracurricular, is called Comp Sci Kids, which was actually, I think, started at Conant. So it's just a bunch of computer science students that get together and help students, elementary and middle school students, with their homework and computer science, which I think is super awesome and cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. In terms of the social scene, I'm going to echo what like Zach said. It definitely wasn't very cliquey, and there wasn't really that much competition either. One thing that's interesting about having a more medium-sized school is you kind of see the same kids over and over in your classes, which could be bad because you could meet new people, but I found that it was really awesome for me because I got to stick with the same 20 to 30 kids and really get to know them very, very well. And I thought that was awesome. Uh,
So
that's
how many students were in your graduating class?
only about 500. So it's still pretty big, but it's not like Hinsdale or Stevenson or like Naperville big, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to Whitney Young for, well, this was for 7th and 8th grade, but yeah, the school is like 2,200 kids plus the 7th and 8th grade. So yeah, it's about the same size. So where is Conant located?
It's in Hoffman Estates, so I think it's like 30 minutes. I'm bad with geography, but like 30 minutes from Naperville area. Like I think that's where most of the schools here are from.
Okay, so what 3 words would you use to describe your school?
Uh, I think I'd have to start with probably diverse. One of the things that, to be honest, scared me the most when I came to this school was there wasn't a big East Asian population or Chinese American population, right? And it was
Hmm.
kind of a mix of everybody. And part of and that was a little bit scary to me, like going in. But as I got in, there's a lot of different perspectives, like not just in terms of ethnicity, but also in terms of background, clubs, right? And passions that you get from Conant that I thought was really unique to my high school experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can echo that. I mean, as somebody who's grew up in the city of Chicago, rather than suburbs, I feel like having that diverse growth and education is really important, especially when we're talking about from a younger age. And I think schools that can offer that experience does something different than the others.
Yep, totally agree.
So, Nicholas, the last question for you is, what do you think your school does better than the other local high schools in your area?
Right. So I think there's 2 things that this school does really well. First, like I mentioned before, the math and science program is really very strong here. I know that I was on a math track that had me take Calculus BC my sophomore year, which was a lot earlier than a lot of schools in our area. So they really, really push the math and science. So if you're really into STEM, it's an awesome school to go to. Secondly, there's a lot of self-driven opportunities. So they're really open about letting you start new clubs. And I know that when I wanted to compete in debate, they were super flexible about letting me attend all of these different competitions. So they were very, very accommodating for letting me do self-driven clubs and activities.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nicholas, for coming here and talking about your school, Conant High School. And if you have time, just stick around for a couple more minutes to answer a couple more questions.
Yep, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, well, that was Nicholas, and he went to Conant High School in Hoffman Estates. Next up on our list is our students from IMSA, Eddie and Daniel. And Eddie and Daniel, I don't know if your cameras are working, but if you could turn, oh, we have one, Daniel, awesome.
Sorry, my camera's not working. I don't know.
No worries at all. That's totally fine. But if you could share your screen. Perfect. So before we get started, if Eddie and Daniel, if you guys could just say a couple sentences about yourself.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start. Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Ma. I'm a current junior at IMSA, of course, Illinois Mathematics and Science Academy.
Nice to meet you, Daniel. And Eddie?
Hello, my name is Edward Zay, and I'm a current senior at the Illinois Math.
Okay, well, why don't you guys get started to give us an introduction about your school, IMSA?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with a really brief introduction to sort of make it a bit quick so we can get into the content of IMSA. We are a 3-year residential sort of public academy located in Aurora, Illinois. So we're not actually 4 years. So students actually start off as sophomores here. And how it goes is students apply during their freshman year at whatever local public high school they're at. And then there's a admissions process where sort of counselors take into advice your GPA, your essays, sort of like the college admissions process almost, but not really. Still pretty selective for IMSA. And so students are accepted into a sophomore class of around 200 to 220 students. So not a really big school. In total, we only have around 650 students. And yeah, that's really about it. It's one of the only residential schools in Illinois.
Absolutely. So do most students go directly from 8th to 10th, or do students oftentimes still go for the 9th grade?
So
a
most
different
students
school.
actually apply during their freshman year, and then so they do 9th grade and then they do 10th grade at IMSA. Like it is possible to apply as an 8th grader, but that is like you have to be very smart, and they let in fewer kids through 8th grade.
I see. Okay, what do you guys have for us on the next slide?
So we can go ahead with the 3 words that we describe our high school with. So one important concept that IMSA prides itself is innovation. A lot of people come to IMSA and then they develop things like startups and other organizations, and a lot of these are done through IMSA's Innovation Center, which provides a lot of opportunities for students to have these opportunities. Yes. The second word that we'd use is education, because it has a lot of advanced math and
You all right there, Edward? Looks like Edward might be having some microphone trouble. Daniel, do you want to continue further?
Yeah, of course, I can proceed. I think we stopped off at innovation here. So of course, IMSA is a STEM school. I think Edward mentioned this. We have several advanced mathematics courses in our curriculum. Students are always given the opportunity to choose these courses with each upcoming year. For example, we offer a lot of college math courses and tracks that normal local high schools don't offer, such as like differential equations, multivariable calculus, abstract algebra, to name a few. And a lot of those are readily accessible to our seniors and even our juniors, and they're taught by professional faculty. And so
with those courses, would you still be earning high school credits, or would you also earn them as dual credits?
All credits earned at IMSA are still high school credits. So it's not like, I guess, some other I don't know, online college programs where you can also earn college credits. At IMSA, they're all for high school credits. And yeah, you would have to complete them, of course, to graduate high school.
I see. And then,
yeah, I guess I just wanted to say, moving on, with these sort of college level and advanced courses at IMSA, all classes at IMSA, apart from fine arts and gym classes, they're all technically college level courses. So that's sort of how we report them. And so, yeah, it really facilitates more advanced thinking, and just really challenges students that come to IMSA that are really passionate about learning.
Absolutely. What do you think your school does differently than any other school, other than the residential areas?
I think we're covering that on the next slide. So if Edward could move on to the next slide. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, sort of just segueing from this question, I guess one of the main important factors of our school that sort of differentiates us are the teachers. Definitely, because one thing is that 55% of our teachers at IMSA actually have a doctorate degree, so they're PhDs, mostly in the history, sciences, and math faculty. So it's actually extremely helpful to us students that are still in high school, receiving sort of college level help and education. Most of these teachers have also published papers as well, and it's really helpful for us to sort of follow along in their footsteps and see what they've done, and they can even help us out ourselves. Apart from teachers, one of the biggest factors or parts of our school that makes us stand out is the wide opportunities for research at IMSA. We actually have something called SIR, or the Student Inquiry and Research Program. It's a year-long, actually credited course in which students guide themselves, or are guided through our program, to sort of email and contact mentors from different universities around Illinois and around the country namely, a lot of our students go to start research in medicine at Northwestern's, like Feinberg School. A lot of people go to U Chicago to maybe work with business professors. And a great amount of people actually go to UIUC, which is one of the largest sort of schools that students matriculate there from IMSA. And yeah, so this research program, extremely useful to IMSA students, allows us to work on a paper with a professor through a sort of facilitated program throughout the entire year. And at the end of the year, once we pick up the research and all the writing necessitated to complete our paper, we'll be presenting it at the IMSA Loquium, which is just sort of research presentation. And a lot of students, or not a lot of students, but many students are able to actually get their papers published in professional research journals as well. And that ends up proving to be extremely fruitful to their high school career and college planning.
Absolutely. So are you guys given time for that during the school day, during the week long?
Yeah. So actually, one of the main things about IMSA is that 20% of students' time is spent on like self-learning and inquiry, basically. So every Wednesday, IMSA students don't have classes, and then that is dedicated to like research and internships, which they can pursue through, again, these universities or internships with local companies. And actually, these students, like, they wake up at 6 a.m. and they take a bus to downtown Chicago to actually go. They started it up again to work in person at the labs for some of these research opportunities.
Absolutely. That is awesome. So with these different kinds of opportunities available, do you guys find that managing your time becomes an issue?
I would say definitely it is a bit hard to manage time because it is also a residential high school, and you're surrounded by a lot of people constantly. So that's a bit hard, but a lot of students, like, it's something that people will learn at IMSA, and it really helps you develop your time management skills since your parents aren't there to like kind of direct you. So I think it's really helpful to develop these skills at IMSA.
Awesome. Can one of you also speak to what kind of resources are available to students that maybe have a hard time adjusting?
I can elaborate on that. So one of our key resources, I guess, for students that are having a like hard time acclimating themselves to the residential experience, especially, like I personally know a lot of students that were just sort of having troubles just making use of their time here, or they were sort of homesick coming to IMSA. I mean, really, it's just high schoolers that are separating from their families for over even a month at a time. So it's really a new experience. But here at IMSA, there are always counselors that we have available to us to help us sort of get through like sort of tough times at IMSA if people are feeling homesick or feeling troubled about some aspect of their residential experience. And I know a lot of people have really benefited from the counselors. They'll work with you for every day if you need. They'll also allow you to sort of take classes off to sort of take like a mental break of sorts. And so, yeah, there's a lot of mental health sort of just help here at IMSA. Of course, there are consequences that students will face their own struggles away from home. And so they're quite lenient.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniel and Edward, for taking the time to talk a little bit more about your school. And I look forward to seeing what you guys are up to in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, next we have Tiffany and Shania from Jones College Prep. Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Shania. If you guys wouldn't mind just to give a quick introduction about yourselves first.
I guess I'll go first. So my name is Shania. I'm a freshman at Jones College Prep right now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I attend a bunch of clubs in Jones College Prep, and I'm pretty much enjoying my time here. It's a really nice school.
Awesome. And Tiffany?
My name is Tiffany Nye. I am a sophomore at Jones. I don't really have a lot going on. I'm pretty much just all in on academics.
That's awesome. Are you guys both Chicago natives?
Yes.
Awesome. Me too. All right, let's go on. Is Shania sharing the slides or Tiffany?
Shania.
Yeah. Is the slide showing up?
Yes.
Okay. So Tiffany will start sharing the first few slides.
All right. Okay. So Jones, I think one of the best parts about Jones is that it's like in downtown Chicago, which makes like off-campus lunch worth it. Because I know like places like Whitney, there's really not much places to eat, but at Jones, like there's a bunch of places and they're like 2 minutes away, walking distance, and like, you know, public school food isn't really that good. So that's really nice. It is a bit pricey though. It's just a really nice place. It's right next to like Harold Washington Library, and that's actually really cool because they have a program called U Media for high schoolers. They have a bunch of instruments, a recording studio, professional camera equipment, VR headsets, computers, a sewing station, and a lot of other things that you can have access to at any time. And it's just for high school students. You know, it's a really cool environment to learn, to do some extracurriculars if you want to, just on your own time before or after school. And then the next thing that I really liked about Jones is that Jones has a block schedule, which I think differentiates it. Basically, you have your first 4 periods on what we call A days, and then your next 3 periods on what you call B days. This makes it so that every period is 1.5 hours, which I really like because you can really just like engross yourself into the topic instead of having to like rush to like leave to your next class, because I know that like when classes are only like 45 minutes, I can't focus really well. I really like having that really long class period. It also gives us more passing time because Jones is a really big school. We have 2 buildings. We have 7 floors on the first one, 6 floors on the other one. It's a really big building. Going between classes takes a long time. So we do have like 10-minute passing periods. We also have ACT Lab for our last period on B days. Yeah, we have ACT Lab for our last period on B days, and it's really helpful because you can go like take tests and take quizzes that you missed. You can go talk to teachers, or you can just do your homework, which is really nice because I know a lot of students that they don't have a lot of time after school to do that. So they're kind of behind everyone else because they gotta have a job or they have to take care of younger siblings or whatever. They don't have a lot of time after school to talk to teachers, to get extra help if they need it. They don't have a lot of time to do the homework that we are assigned. So I really like the ACT Lab that allows, you know, gives students that don't really have that much time after school an opportunity to do things that they normally wouldn't if they went to other high schools.
That's really awesome. I didn't know Jones offered that. So is that essentially just like office hours for everybody that's in your schedule?
It's basically just like a free time for 1.5 hours at the end of the day. On B days, you can do whatever you want. You can hang out with friends. You can go to the library, do whatever you want.
I see.
Just can't leave.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
Shania, are you doing this? Okay, Shania, are you doing this?
Yeah, I can do this part.
Okay.
So basically, Jones, there's like a lot of courses that can be offered. There's a lot of AP courses. In freshman year, you can choose one AP course called AP Human Geography. And once you get to like sophomore, junior, senior year, you can choose other AP classes. So there's like a really big variety of classes you can choose. And like on the slide, you can see like how the courses progress. And basically, something that's special about our math classes is that it's like integrated. So basically, there's like, it isn't on like a specific subject, it's like in cumulative math. So you don't forget the things you learned earlier. So it's like, basically, I think it's really helpful because it helps you revisit the stuff you learned the year before and just go over it. So then you won't have to like apply these skills in every single year, which is really helpful.
Absolutely, yeah. And actually, integrated mathematics is now recommended instead of the more traditional form. So a lot of the newer high schools are adopting this format.
Mhm. And there's a few language programs like Mandarin, French, Spanish, and German. For German, I'm pretty sure it's like an online course and it costs a few $100s. So usually people just opt for the first three languages. I'm in Mandarin too, and personally, I think that the classes and teachers are really supportive and they really help you. Sorry, they really help you learn the languages a lot. There's opportunities for AP language classes, which is really useful.
Absolutely. Oh, we have more.
Okay. So now on about clubs and athletics, there's like a really wide variety of student like clubs and like teams. There's like African clubs like the Black Student Union, Asian American Club, and all of that. And there's like a lot of STEM centered clubs like Girls Who Code, robotics team, mathematics team. And they all give you like really hands-on experiences on what you want to do in life. And they also have a lot of leadership role skills. Like, for example, it's like my first year at Jones and I already have developed leadership skills in Girls Who Code, which is gives me a really helpful opportunity to like build on my college application, also gave me more skills than to be in high school. And when you ask about clubs, and they have like a very diverse community, and they're really supportive as far as like all the clubs I've joined. They all have like a wide range from freshmen to seniors with different ethnicities and different like household incomes, and they can give you like really fresh perspective on Chicago and also just like develop your friends and friendship in Jones. And there's also athletics like cross country, swim, cheer, dance, basketball, and more. There's like official list of clubs and athletics on JCP website. So if you want to check it out, you can go through all the list and see their information.
Thank you so much. So what three words do you think you guys would use to describe Jones?
I wouldn't say that Jones prides itself a lot on being diverse. It has like students from all zip codes from Chicago, which is really good. Like it gives you a lot of people to meet. I will also say that's like very academically centered. The courses are really studious if you have some teachers and they really care about your grades and they really care about preparing you for college. And the next one would be probably supportive because they have counselors, they have mentors, they have seniors who can support you on preparing your like life for high school and also for college. So that's pretty much what I would describe it.
Awesome. And does Jones have an academic center program?
They do.
So for 7th and 8th grade?
Yes, they do. 7th and 8th graders, they can, sorry, I don't know why the sign isn't showing up, but 7th and 8th graders, they can choose to have credit for different classes. I think starting from sophomore year. I think that Tiffany can say more on that because I'm a freshman, so.
Okay, so 7th and 8th graders, we don't have it in the, I don't think we have any like programs. It's not like Whitney where like you can go there at 7th and 8th grade. We do have a math thing of you can go to Jones for geometry in your 8th grade if you passed the algebra exit exam, but I think that's only for South Loop, which was my middle school. Otherwise, I don't think we really have anything for 7th and 8th graders, actually.
Okay, well, do you all have anything else to add about the program?
I wanted to mention on the CTE program, it's called the Career and Technical Education Program. A lot of people I know are in it. There's law and engineering, and basically it replaces your fine arts courses with the program. You can choose between law and engineering, like I said. And I think that it would be really useful for gaining hands-on experience on the career you want to be in. Like in law, they go to like mock trials and actual court trials and have internships, and people come in and talk to them about law, pre-law, and all of that. And engineering, they like develop their own creations and like cultivate their own engineering career, which is really helpful. So I think that's one of the good things about Jones because of this program.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing for any students who was able to attend. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany and Shania, for your time and talking to us about Jones College Prep.
Of course.
All right, next we have Helen, who is going to introduce Naperville Central.
Hey everyone, I'm Helen. I'm a freshman at Naperville Central High School, and today I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my school through a presentation of my experience at my school so far. So since I'm a freshman, I haven't done a lot at school, but right now I'm participating in quite a few clubs, including our debate team, our science Olympiad team, and our model UN team. And I think as a freshman coming off of COVID in 8th grade, I had a very low expectation of high school, because when you're growing up, you see a lot of stereotypical like cliques in high school and a lot of like not good environments for freshmen. But I think going into Naperville Central, it was a really good surprise to see like a very accepting community and a very good transition for freshmen. I think especially this year, our school administration made a lot of efforts to help us transition from e-learning into school and to help the freshmen get along. There was this thing called Link that all freshmen do for their first semester. And although a lot of kids like to complain about it, I think it's a very good way to help freshmen transition into the school and help them learn a little more about school as a whole and the different things we do in school, such as finals or GPAs or grades in general. And I think, as a lot of people have said before me, my high school also offers a huge selection of AP and honors classes, along with a lot of other electives. So if you have specific interests such as like drawing or painting or like technology, there are classes that you can take to address those specific interests. And I think overall, it's just a very good school, and it's a lot higher than the expectations I had when I came into school this year. And if I were to describe my school using 3 words, I think the first word would be accepting, because everybody is very kind. If you would like ask someone for directions, they would probably give them to you. The teachers are all very nice and they offer support whenever you need it. I think another word would be diverse. I think diverse as in like classes and like extracurriculars, because we have a lot of options like offered to our students, and there are clubs for every range of interests. And if you don't see your interests, you can always grab your friends and you can start a club of your own, as long as you find a teacher willing to sponsor your club. And I think the third word I would use to describe my school is engaging, because even though there are different skill levels for every student, there is an option for you to take, and there's always something that you can take.
That is awesome. So what do you think your school does better than some of the other local schools in the area?
I think our school does a really good job of offering options for everyone. So there's like a really, really big like class selection that everybody can take. And there's clubs, there's extracurriculars, there's lots and lots of sports for every season. There's girls and boys. There's a lot of diversity and acceptance within these clubs. So you allow everybody to do the things that they enjoy.
That is awesome. So with your experience so far, what is something that really amazed you or kind of changed how you think about something?
I think definitely the way that everybody bounced back from the pandemic, because it was such a big thing last year that we were doing like all our classes over Zoom or over like some kind of online platform, and to go back to school and to be able to learn and see all the teachers like adapting to all the new rules and helping kids transition is really inspiring.
That is awesome. And so how many students are at Naperville Central?
I think we have a couple thousand, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 kids.
Oh, wow. So yeah, definitely on the larger size for the high schools.
Yeah.
And I think Zach earlier mentioned that you guys are basically next door, right?
Yeah, we're about 5 minutes away from Naperville North.
So how do you guys feel any rivalries because between
Oh,
the
definitely, definitely. I think, especially in the beginning of the year when we both have. Oops, sorry, let me turn my alarm off.
Oh, no worries.
All right. Yeah, I think definitely that there's a rivalry, especially when it comes to inter-school events. Like when we had homecoming, we played our homecoming football game against North, and both of our schools really hyped it up. We called it like a crosstown game, and everyone from both schools showed up at like a neutral stadium and we watched the game. And I think it's just really a playful rivalry at this point between our two schools.
That is awesome because I know you guys do have quite a lot of outstanding schools in the area, and you guys do have that relationship with all of them. So what thing are you looking forward to taking advantage of in the next coming years?
I think Naperville Central has a really big program of electives that are really interesting. So there's like computer science or like culinary or like fashion and design. And I think there are a lot of interests I could explore both for like my future or for like my personal like interests.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Helen, and I hope you stick around for our Q&A session.
Yeah.
Well, that was Helen talking to us about Naperville Central. And then next up, we have our other Naperville school, Niqua, and we have April to talk about our school.
Sorry. Hey, everyone. My voice is a bit dead, my bad. Hey, everyone. I'm April. I'm a sophomore at Niqua Valley. I'm involved in speech, youth and government, and math team, among other things. Let me show my screen real quick.
Sure thing. And
yeah, go ahead.
oh, so are you from the Naperville area? Have you lived there your entire life?
Yeah, I have lived basically around here my entire life. Lived in Downers Grove before going Cloud to Gregory to Niqua. If you're in 204, there's been a lot of controversy recently over Cloud and some other issues, but it's been resolved. This is Willie the Wildcat, and if you think that sounds familiar, it's because it's stolen straight from Northwestern. The name and the mascot both, so yay, I guess. I'd like to preface by saying Niqua is probably less competitive than the schools you hear. We're not the best at STEM, and we're not really the best at anything, but I feel as though we're one of the most all-around schools, and that's probably like the first word I'd use to describe our school. So in terms of academics, we are pretty open. This is like the complete list of APs that we offer. I will say that if you are trying to take AP STEM courses, you will be in for a rough time because in order to take AP Bio, you have to have taken Honors Bio. There isn't like a test you can take to place out of Honors Bio. You just have to do it. The one exception to that, I think, would be AP Physics if you take it early enough, just because it is a class for upperclassmen. And you can see this doesn't list it here, but we are a relatively large school. I think right now each class is about 900 people, and that is actually on the decline from the last decade. So we have a freshman building as well. It is I'd say, repurposed middle school, and it's for freshmen. If you're a freshman and you're taking a course like one of the higher music programs or AP Comp Sci A or an honors business class, you will have to take a shuttle to the main building. I was lucky. I was actually supposed to do that last year because I was in the top orchestra, but then I didn't because I was online. So that is an experience.
So are all of the freshman classes located at that building?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So they're pretty much isolated from the rest of the school. They will tell you that it's to help you transition. To be honest, it's because of size. They can't fit everyone in the main building. That's what it is. But I will say, well, Niqua isn't like the strongest in STEM, so to speak. Our ELA courses are very standard, I think. It's very similar to what Jones said about theirs, basically the same. We are very strong like in the quote unquote exploratory region, except the culinary classes. We've had to go out for multiple fire alarms because they burn onions and it doesn't smell very nice. But like the honors business classes has VEI. I think this past year they were state champions and they placed top 50 at nationals. Our journalism program has this entire page of awards and they were nominated for some national thing. I think the big section is what I'm in. It's the music and arts department. We have 8 orchestras, 8 bands, and 8 choirs, and most of them are placements either via auditions or just technique placement, which they're actually doing next week. And for any public school, we have the most Grammy signature school awards in the nation. The only ones that have more are like art conservatory high schools. So that's a huge sense of pride for us. And as for the teachers, there's a lot of complaining, but honestly, it's like if you don't like them, I mean, chances are if you think they don't like you, it's because you don't like them, and it's very, very obvious. Many of them, if you get to know them and you're nice to them, they are incredibly helpful. I think this past week, I needed a teacher recommendation letter in 3 days, like just once. So I emailed a couple teachers because, you know, I didn't expect most teachers to get back to me that fast. All of them gave them to me by the time I wanted, 24 hours in advance. And it was just like, honestly, just mind blowing for me, considering I never even gone to the building for my freshman courses. And I did ask them for teacher recommendation letters, and I was just astonished at how fast they were responding.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As for our clubs and athletics, since they said to talk about speech and debate, we have no debate team. If you're in District 204, we do not have a debate team. We will not start a debate team. You cannot hone and put that on your resume. They will not allow you to because there's some controversies in the past. Our speech team also only competes in state. I am currently trying to get us into the NCFL and the NSTA circuits, so maybe in the coming years it'll change. But if you really want to go to larger tournaments, you can do so independently, and basically the school's not going to stop you. In the future, it might change. I'd say we have relatively easy access to clubs, and again, it's like we're not exactly the best at anything, but that makes it a lot easier. Like if you want to qualify for state, or if you want to be on like a semi-decent team but be the star, it's a lot easier to do that. And we also have a lot of speech and debate related programs, but they're sort of the sideshow to a main field, like DECA, which is for business, JSA, although JSA is not sponsored, not teacher sponsored, so you won't hear advertisements about that. Youth and government and Model UN. And circling back to youth and government in particular, our district has a reputation in the youth and government community because if you check the awards list and you check the exec board, we sort of dominate that. It's why Pre-Lig 1 and 2 have been at 204 schools. Our athletics are there to have fun. I'm not gonna say they're there to stay because they're really not.
Well, I think that gives everybody a chance to, you know, maybe be a starter sometime.
Honestly, yes. It's not as bad as it could be, but it's definitely not the best. I would say. Oh yeah, I forgot to get to this, but the second word I used to describe our school is size, because we are relatively big and we can't keep everyone in one building, and it's just chaotic, to be honest. I don't have a slide about our reputation, but my third word was repute, because we do have some reputations, and I thought I'd get to them because we have a lot of negative things said about us. The first one is drugs. All cards on the table, it's semi-accurate, semi-not, because we're known for hard drugs, when I'd argue that if you know where you're looking, you will find many soft drugs. If you're not looking for them, which don't look for them, then you won't really encounter them. And the other thing I'd like to say is about mental health, because District 204 currently has 8 suicides as of this semester, and 2 of them are at Nikwa. And while Nikwa is improving, we do not have the best mental health response. We have counselors, we have a social worker for each class, but there is this big controversy going on right now about whether it's enough and how we can expand. They just opened a hotline and tip lines if you need mental health help, but it's not exactly the most open when it comes to that. So yeah, that's sorry to end on such a depressing note, but I thought I'd just give you like the good, the bad, and the ugly of Nikwa. We're not the best, I'm not going to pretend that we are, but we are pretty good, and we're a pretty all-around school.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that, you know, Nikwa is trying to better themselves, especially when we're talking about mental health. And that's something that I know has been affecting all of our communities around the Chicago area. And for anybody who is struggling with mental health, I strongly advise you to check out the resources by United Chinese Americans through their Waves nonprofit. We have a lot of great videos and talks about youth mental health, especially within the Chinese American community. And I actually had a lot of my great friends graduate from Nikwa. So I do know a little bit about the experiences and how much they enjoyed their time at Nikwa. And I can say the musicians that come out of that school have all been amazing. So anybody who loves, being in orchestra and being in band, Nikwa is a fantastic place to meet other amazing musicians and really create lifelong friendships. Well, thank you so much, April. And we are moving on to our next school. We have Whitney Young and we have Sandy to introduce us.
Okay, hi, my name is Sandy Kim, and I am currently a student attending Whitney Young Magnet High School. And I think the environment in the school is very accepting, and for like rising 8th graders, I think it's easy for them to get to know the school and become familiar with the environment and community in the school. And there's off-campus lunch. That's the first thing I'm starting with, because Jones mentioned that we don't have a lot of options, and we actually do. And I go off campus every day with my friends because I hate the school lunch. And there's a good variety of places like Dunkin' Donuts, there's Subways, and there's this really good taco place, and there's Crave Kebab, which is a Mediterranean restaurant, and there's Target, which you can ride a bus to, and Billy Goats, which is like burgers and fries, etc. And for our school schedule, we have orange, blue, dolphin, and short dolphin days, or like early dismissal days. And for orange and blue days, we have one 95-minute block. Wait, okay, one 95-minute block in the beginning of school, and school starts at 8. And then we have 5-minute passing periods. And then we have our skinnies, which are like 45-minute blocks that we have every day. And we have 2 skinnies, and then actually, no, we have 4, but one of those skinnies is your lunch. And then we have another 95-minute class. And then at the end of the day, we have advisory for 35 minutes, and you can do whatever you want. Like there's volleyball, and there's ceramics, there's dancing, which you just go to the dance room and dance. But like a lot of people, they just sign in and leave, but they're trying to stop that, because if they catch you leaving the school, you're going to get your off-campus lunch taken away, which I think is good, because it's like consequences for your actions. And for Dolphin Days, you have every class for 50 minutes each. And early dismissal days, we get off at 1:55, and we also have every class for the day. I think it's for like 40 or 45 minutes. And for our courses, Whitney Young offers a lot of AP courses and honors courses. For me, I'm taking one AP class, which is AP Human Geo, but you could choose from, I think, AP Euro, AP World History, and AP Human Geo.
And are those AP classes offered for freshmen or only sophomore and up?
They're offered for freshmen, but I was in the academic center, which is just me being there for 7th and 8th grade. But you can, even if you're an incoming freshman, you can still take those classes because they're offered for you. And you just have to complete your courses, which your counselor you have a meeting with your counselor every year to know which courses you have to take. And for languages, we have, oh my gosh, okay. We have Mandarin, French. I'm taking French. Took French for 7th and 8th grade, but I didn't like the teacher, so I switched. And we have Latin, Japanese, and Spanish, I think. And we have AP in those languages. And yeah. And Whitney Young has a lot of clubs and teams. I think we have more than 50. Wait, no, we have more than 100 clubs in our school. And everyone should find something they like doing because there's a lot. And I know all my friends are in at least a club or a team. And during the fall, I do cheer, and during winter, I do basketball, which is what I'm doing right now. And the teachers like really care about the students, and the administration wants to make sure there's always someone you can talk to if you need to go to an adult about something, or if you just want to talk to someone. And the teachers at Whitney Young have always like supported me since 7th grade and have helped encourage me through all my time here. And my friends that I've met along the way and the environment at my school have also been so much help to me and pushing me. And they've been pushing me every day to try my hardest and do my best. And when I have needed someone to talk to, my friends were always there. And like my counselors were also open to talk to me, both with like zero judgment and like only wanting the best for me, because I know I've cried like 5 times this year already because, well, I failed my AP Human Geo for one test for one of them, but then I retook it because the teacher is nice and I love that class. And then I talked to my counselor about some stuff, and then she was very like supportive and like she gave me advice. And we are also a very diverse school. We're the #1 diverse school in Chicago and 2nd in all of Illinois for public schools. And wait, no, I think it's for all of schools. And then many other students have said the same about Whitney Young, as in like the counselors and teachers supporting them. And Whitney Young has also helped me find like my love for some of the subjects that I used to really dislike, like math. My math teacher, Mr. Elliott, right now, I used to hate learning math, but now he makes sure that all the students in his classes like understand the assignments and what we're learning. And I think something my school can improve on and do better than other schools is making sure the students feel like, something my school does better than other schools, in my opinion, is making sure the students feel like they're part of the school community, and also listening to listening to their voices. Because many times per quarter, your division counselor will visit your division to see how everyone there is doing. And if anyone has any questions that they want to ask the counselor, and the counseling office is also opened all day during school hours. And for mental health, I think the counselors are really supportive and they'll help you, like they're open to helping you. And there is a national suicide prevention thing on the back of our ID. It used to be our school schedule, but now it's this, which I think is, I don't know.
I love it.
I think it's helpful, but also not helpful, because people usually just put their venture card in the back of their ID so they don't see it. But
you know, at least it's somewhere where they can see it. At least they have that option to, when they open it up and check out their cards. I think that's a great thing for the school to have added. And I might be a little biased as an Ackie, even though this was many, many years ago. I went to Whitney Young in 2007 and 2008 as part of the Academic Center student. So I absolutely love my experiences there. I think they were two of the best years of my life, I think, especially when I'm talking about when I was younger, and the different kinds of clubs and activities. And I think especially, right, like Sandy said, the friends that you make. I still talk to a couple of my friends from Whitney Young, even though I was only there for 2 years. But it really is a great place for anybody to try out the numerous clubs and the great environment there at Whitney Young. So to end, Sandy, what 3 words would you use to describe Whitney Young?
I think first accommodating, because I think there's something for everyone, and like many clubs and like just the courses. There's a lot of courses. Like we just added AP Forensic Sciences, and I think that's
Oh,
really
wow.
cool. And also supportive, because the teachers and your friends will all support you. And Dr. Kenner too, because she is the best principal ever. And also, I think the last word is safe, because we have like security guards, and also like if you ever need to talk to anyone about something, you can go, like if you ever need to talk to someone, there's always your counselor that's open. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I do feel that Whitney Young does a great job, especially with regards to the counselors available. I still remember during my year, whenever we really did have some issue come up, we were always allowed to just walk out of our classroom and just go to our counselor's office. And I think that's something that Whitney Young does encourage more than some of the other high schools in the area. And those are something that I think as parents and high schoolers that we usually do want to pay attention to. Next up, we have Alex, who is going to talk about Stevenson High School.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex, and I will be talking a little bit about Stevenson. So give me 2 seconds to pull up the slideshow. Can everyone see the screen fine?
I think the presenter screen is currently on.
Oh, okay. Let me change that real quick. Sorry.
No worries, take your time. I think sometimes it might help if you do just share the portion of your screen. It might work that way.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me check that out. Is this good now?
Yes, yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so my name is Alex Xie, and I'm currently a freshman at Adlai E. Stevenson High School. I've been at Stevenson for obviously my first year, and some of my hobbies are doing speech and debate outside of school, as well as in school, and also just getting involved with some sports, mainly basketball. So just a little bit of an overview of Stevenson. So Stevenson opened in 1965 and is located here in Lincolnshire, Illinois. Stevenson has an increasingly diverse population as our student body has become more and more diverse every single year. So Stevenson currently gives hosts to about roughly 4,563 students, as well as 253 teachers, making up about approximately an 18-to-1 student to teacher ratio so far. Our campus is very, very huge. So it's separated into two main kind of buildings, the West Building as well as the East Building. We have an incredible facilities, including a full-size field house with a basketball courts. We have a full-size stadium where our football games take place. Those are always extremely hype. The football games always get really crazy. It's just a very great school spirit during those games. We also have an Olympic-size swimming and diving pool, as well as a 2-floor gym that is currently being built right now. So these facilities are obviously super convenient as they are open during school as well as after school. So if you don't want to buy like a gym membership, you can just, work out after school right at Stevenson. That's why it's super convenient. Some other cool parts about our school is the food. So surprisingly, it is actually quite good compared to like the stereotypical high school, kind of food. Every week we have a cultural food, such as like Mediterranean bowls. There's like Asian week. And the really cool part is every Friday, we actually have sushi, which if you do end up going to Stevenson in the future, I definitely recommend getting. So talking a little bit about academics. So Stevenson offers a vast variety of different included courses, including but not limited to 31 AP classes. Some of the classes that fit in the major career clusters that Stevenson offers include those that you see on the screen. So that includes health sciences, family and consumer sciences, STEM, business, as well as agricultural education. At Stevenson, we have classes in every single major career sector. So it is obviously extremely inclusive. Anything that you want to do in the future, you can pursue that at Stevenson. Just a few fun facts about our academics as a whole. Stevenson is obviously a very high level and very competitive school. As a whole, Stevenson's average ACT score is about 28.6, and our average SAT score is around 1260. So again, very, very competitive. I know some of you guys in this Zoom call may attend Stevenson in the future. So here are the 6 feeder schools that you see on the board. You have Daniel Wright, Aptekistick, Twin Groves, Woodlawn, Fremont, and West Oak. If you're a student and you attend one of these schools, then Stevenson is the high school that you will be feeding into. Some of these schools have like debate programs or other speech programs that extend from Stevenson. So these classes are taught by Stevenson e-board members or Stevenson upperclassmen. Only some of these schools have them, others don't. And students will have to be exposed to like different clubs once they actually reach high school. So talking a little bit about clubs and extracurriculars, at Stevenson, we have a club for you no matter what you are interested in. So overall, we have over 150 different clubs and intramural teams, as well as over 35 different sports teams. Some of the notable competition clubs include those that you see on the screen, including Model UN, Debate, FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America, as well as HOSA, which is Future Health Professionals of America. All of these clubs are super competitive and have several opportunities where students can compete for different awards. Besides for clubs, we also have many different intramural teams, which are essentially just for students who enjoy playing sports, but don't have the time to commit to an actual sports team. So these intramural teams are super great. Basically, you can make a team with your friends and compete alongside other teams that are within your grade at Stevenson. So you're basically still competing in an official game with referees, except you don't have to have, there's not as big as a time commitment as if you were to join the actual sports team. Like a few other people in this call, Debate is the club that I am the most invested in at Stevenson. So I can go in a little bit of detail about that in the next slide. So at Stevenson, we have a huge debate team with over 100+ members. Since it's so big, our debate team is split into two sections, Congress as well as public forum, which is basically a 2v2 style debate where there's partnerships and they compete in that kind of format. The leadership of in debate club is similar to every single club that extends across Stevenson. So basically, regarding debate specifically, there's 2 captains for Congress and there's 1 captain for PF. Essentially, what the captain's job is to just oversee the entire research process, oversee the club, communicate with the sponsors of debate. And like other clubs, that's the captain's responsibility to do. The step below that would be the research captains, where there's 4 for Congress and 2 for PF. The research captains kind of just oversee the research process, and the research coordinators, there's about 15 to 20. At Stevenson, freshmen are very well greeted and get many opportunities no matter what club you're in. Regarding debate specifically, freshmen get to participate in many different tournaments, including ICDA tournaments, which are kind of just the state tournament. As long as you do your research and fulfill to the commitments of the club, then you'll be eligible to compete in kind of like any kind of competition the club has to offer. So I think that's very, very advantageous. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much, Alex. That was a great introduction to Stevenson. So I just have one little question for you, other than our 3 words you would describe for your school. With the school being, almost like 5,000 students, how do you feel like you're fitting in? And do you feel like you ever get lost with it as just a number?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I can approach this question in kind of like a twofold aspect. First, I would kind of talk about like the physical aspect. Obviously, Stevenson is a very, very huge place. There's, a lot of people. So when I first entered Stevenson, as I'm only a freshman now, when I first joined, I got lost to basically every kind of classes. And what's so great about Stevenson is everyone is so welcoming, right? So when I first joined, I could just turn around, talk to an upperclassman that I see in the hallway and ask them like, hey, do you know where the class like 2610 is? And they would just point me in that direction, right? So I think that's super great. Everyone is compassionate. And that's kind of just like the motto that's passed around at Stevenson. The teachers always emphasize for upperclassmen to, just kind of help the freshmen, like go to their classes and kind of just direct that traffic in the halls, because Stevenson is obviously a very, very huge place. And then regarding like the social setting, Stevenson is very inclusive, like the other schools that we have talked about before. There's a lot of counselors and there's just so many resources there. So yeah, it's just super inclusive for students.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. That's about the time we have for today. And if you could stick around for just a couple more minutes for our Q&A section.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And that was Alex on Stevenson High School. Next, we have Leon, who will share about UC Lab.
Hi, I'm Leon. I'm a sophomore at Lab. Lab is a private school and it's affiliated with the University of Chicago. There's about 600 students in the whole high school with approximately an 8-to-1 student-teacher ratio. In regards to the courses, like the students start mapping out their academic journey in 8th grade. You and your teachers usually have discussions about what classes you want to take, like depending on how interested you are in the subject, and a mutual agreement about the level of difficulty that's a good fit for you, and also making sure that you receive the necessary amount of credits by the end. At the end of last year as well, you would have a discussion with your teacher whether you should take a more advanced class or not. Like for example, this year we had to take chemistry, but there was like Chem M and Chem C, and Chem M incorporates like more math and it's generally faster moving and more rigorous. For computer science, for example, there are some prerequisite classes that you have to take before doing others. And that's why you kind of have to create a good plan for what courses you want to take during high school. For clubs and extracurriculars, there are plenty of clubs to find things that interest you. Personally, I'm interested in STEM and I'm part of the math team and I also do coding. I actually attended a math meet 2 days ago at Whitney Young, and we were competing against Whitney and Peyton. I don't think we did the best, but our math team is definitely very competitive, and it pushes everyone to be better. I also find that the teachers running the clubs are really invested, and they make sure that the students are the best prepared. Our debate and Model UN teams are also really competitive for those of you that are interested in that. For fun, I like to play chess, so I created a chess club with my friend, which generated some interest among my peers, and you just need a teacher to support your club. For sports, Lab offers a lot of sports all throughout the year, and our teams perform really well considering that our school is not that big compared to some of the others mentioned today. I do fencing, and I'm part of the fencing team, which is really strong at the moment and has consistently performed. I find that these clubs and sports are a really great way to explore like the things you're interested in outside of school. And it helps you really connect with a lot of people that you don't see all the time. And so one aspect that really stands out is like the diversity that Lab puts focus on. And we have assemblies all the time stressing the importance of like diversity, equity, and inclusion. Every year we also have a diversity day where we explore the customs of other cultures and really find an appreciation for like differences. We also have to do 40 hours of community service to graduate. I currently work at HPNC, which is the Hyde Park Neighborhood Association, and I help like younger kids on homework, and I also spend some time with them. I think it's really important to like, give back to the community, and for me, the experience is really rewarding.
Absolutely. So Leon, did you just attend UC as a high school student, or were you part of their elementary school as well?
I came in 7th grade.
In 7th grade. And how was that experience going from a public school, I'm assuming, to the UC Lab School?
Yeah, I mean, just like relating like diversity and like the inclusiveness overall, like people are like welcomed and like accepted into the community. And I found the transition like very easy, like people welcomed me, and yeah.
That's awesome. So how many students are in your grade?
I'd say like roughly 150.
Roughly 150, I see. And what kind, do you guys have time for outside research or other opportunities that are written inside of your curriculum, or is that usually just after school stuff?
Yeah, like actually the other day I attended like something during lunch, and they discussed like opportunities like for internships with UC, and you can work in like data research and that type of thing. And you could also, there's actually like a lot of different projects that you can do, and there's like people that they pair you with to like explore like things that you're interested in during the summer.
That's really cool. So do you actually have opportunities to ever work with the University of Chicago faculty?
Yeah, definitely. Like just in the internship, like they you could definitely work with like people affiliated with university.
That's really cool, Leon. So what are 3 words you would use to describe your school?
I kind of already said this, but like inclusiveness, like everyone really, you feel really welcome. The teachers are very accommodating. Like you could, like our school has a policy where if you have like more than 3 tests or like large assignments due, like you could restructure that with like your teacher. And also like
Very cool.
Participatory, like they really encourage participation, like in like English and history classes, like we have a lot of like something called like Harkness discussions, and like we have like those discussions almost every day where we just like really talk and explore ideas with like the other students.
Absolutely. And that is kind of like what college classes are. Most of it is discussion. And I think some schools really do prepare you for those kind of Socratic methods that you will meet at those high intense liberal arts schools like University of Chicago. Well, thank you so much, Leon. And if you will stick around for a little bit for our Q&A section, that was Leon talking about the University of Chicago Lab School. Next but not least, we have Lo Yen, who will be talking about Walter Payton.
Hi, I'm Lo Yen. I'm a junior at Walter Payton College Prep. Just a little overview. I'm part of our POMS team, which is like our varsity dance team. And I'm also on the board of a club called Cancer Aid Chicago, where we support, or we're trying to fundraise money for cancer, we're trying to raise money for cancer awareness. So let me just share my screen really quickly and I will start my presentation. All right, so I kind of have to flex a little bit at first. So Payton is ranked #1 in Illinois. It's a public high school, and #4 nationally. And we've also won many awards, including the National Blue Ribbon Award in 2008, 2014, and just this year, 2021. We're located in Old Town, which is slightly outside of downtown Chicago. So it's pretty easy to get to and from. And we have lots of, and although we don't have off-campus lunch offered to all grade levels and only seniors, we do have many places nearby where we could eat, where you can eat when you're senior or after school. And lastly, we have a lot of honors and AP classes that you can take. We do offer language courses. So I believe we have Chinese, French, Spanish, and Latin. I believe they also all have AP. They all go up to AP, and then for Spanish, it has a Spanish language class and a Spanish literature class. Those are two different classes. And so first I'm going to cover like the academic schedule. So similar to Jones, we have a block schedule called Orange and Blue Days. So we have 4 classes per day, meaning we have those classes every other day, each set. And also like Jones, except it's every day, the last period of the day, we call it an enrichment period. So students kind of get to choose what they like to do. We have a website, and on the website, you can just pick what activity that you like. And it's usually when clubs will meet. We have a very large variety of clubs. There's a huge variety. So for example, the Cancer Aid Club that I'm in, we meet during the enrichment period. We also have many dance groups. So we have a lot, I think at least 2 Chinese dance groups, along with the Latin dance fusion group. And this enrichment period is just for you to kind of do what you'd like. If you'd like to study or watch a movie, those are all open. And for these clubs are student created. So it's also very easy to create these clubs as long as you have a teacher to sponsor you. It's super simple, and you just meet during whichever designated day for enrichment. And something a little different from Peyton compared to other schools is we have seminar days. These are every other Wednesday, and on these days school ends at around 12 o'clock. And just to get into a little more detail, so on these days, there are 2 seminars that the students that we attend. And we get to choose which seminars we would like to participate in at the beginning of each semester. So whichever 2 seminars that you end up in, you have for an entire semester. You don't always get your top choice, but there's a pretty wide variety of seminars that you can choose from. And if you'd like, you can look on the Peyton website, and there's a list of seminars and enrichments that I had just mentioned. There's a huge variety. So for me, for my first seminar right now, I'm part of a medical advisory board where we kind of get to learn about medical professions. And then my second one is kind of more relaxed. We just get to watch Netflix, but it's also kind of like a philosophy class at the same time. So there's a huge variety. There's another one where you can learn self-defense, or again, there's many ones where you can just watch Netflix or watch Disney Plus. There's also a lot of other educational ones, such as like a debate team meet or anything like that. Next to sports, we do have a large variety of sports, although I will say I'm not sure how good we are at them. But some of the sports include football, baseball, basketball, cross country, POMS, which is a team I'm on, cheerleading, sailing, and I believe we also even have like an ultimate frisbee team. But unfortunately, sports do not usually meet during the enrichment periods, and those will have to take time outside of school to meet. And like lastly, I just want to cover generally the Peyton community. Something Peyton is extremely good at that I really appreciate is how attentive they are to students' mental health. They're extremely accommodating to our needs. They're very flexible with late work or giving extensions on projects or kind of moving test dates, depending on whatever the student's going through. You can just reach out to your teacher, and teachers will do whatever they can to do what's best for you. And oftentimes also during the enrichment period, they offer extra tutoring for particularly harder classes. And if that's not enough, teachers usually can also just stay after school and tutor you. They're willing to go a long way for you. I've always had a very good experience with the teachers. And of course, every student has, we have our own counselor. But aside from the counselor, this is actually a new thing that we added this year. We have a school psychiatrist. So now we kind of have more professional, more experienced person here. And similar to Whitney, whenever you're having a hard time or anything, you can just walk right out of class and your teacher will understand. And you can go talk to your counselor. And yeah, so Peyton is extremely good with mental health. And I forgot to include this into the slides, but we also have this program called Best Buddies, where we have a section in the building for kids with special needs. And there's an enrichment that meets every Friday, I believe. And you get to do, I did this enrichment last year. You get to do so many things with it. We call them our buddies. You kind of in pods, so you kind of have like your little friend group with these special needs students, and you get to bake with them. You get to go on walks. You get to watch movies, paint nails, whatever you like. Just kind of hang out with them and just talk. And overall, Peyton has a very good environment, and it's an amazing school.
Thank you so much, Lo Yen, for sharing about Walter Payton. And Lo Yen, so I see you mentioned sailing club. So do you guys actually have boats that you go on the water?
I don't know much about it, but I do know my friend is on it. We're not too close to the water, but it's linked to another outside club, but I'm not really sure the specifics. But yes, when they do meet, they don't meet in the school. It's wherever that center is by the lake.
That's awesome. And does Peyton have a academic center program for 7th and 8th grade?
We do not. But I did come from a academic center. I came from the Lane Tech Academic Center, and so I do take, like, a lot of my classes are with students a year above mine, and it's amazing. They're still super friendly, super accommodating.
Absolutely. And for any of those parents who are looking at 7th and 8th grade programs, I highly, highly recommend it. I know Whitney Young has their 7th and 8th grade program. Lane Tech has their academic center program. And those are really just great opportunities for younger students to be involved in these upper level classes and just really give you the time to take these AP courses when you are in high school. So Lo Yen, what 3 words would you use to describe your school?
I would say high achieving. I would say a good majority of the students have very big goals. They have a lot, and they're very driven. And the second one I'd say is supportive. Like I said, the mental health, the school is amazing with that. I can talk on and on and on about how great they are with that. And then last, I would say compassionate. That kind of just combines high achieving and supportive. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lo Yen, and please stick around. We have, I believe, the president of the Chinese Neighborhood Parent Association to talk a little bit more about for our Q&A session. So is Meng here? If you could.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm so happy that you're here with us, and because we do have a question list. A lot of parents, just when we're discussing, we just say that all these teenagers, all these high schoolers are so achieved, they're so good, and they're you just the way that you're kind of saying your school is so mature and make us feel a little bit surprised about and so we want to know that the first question a lot of person asking about is because all those schools are very competitive, and they are curious about when you're before you come into those high schools. So are you also in the selective enrollment elementary school, or is so could you talk a little bit more about how you get into those high schools?
I think that's a fantastic question. And I think that's something a lot of students here can talk a little bit more about. I'm just going to give my little personal experience before any other students might want to answer. But I actually went to a lot of schools in the Chicago area. So I went to Mark T. Skinner for my 3rd to 5th grade. Now they're all split into Skinner West, Skinner North, and everything. But I went to the original one next to Whitney Young. And then I went to Leonard Gifted Center down in the South Side before going to the 7th and 8th grade program at Whitney Young. And I will always feel like, yes, there are a lot of differences, but when we're talking about the teachers, for those kind of selective schools, you are going to meet some great teachers, and it just depends on what kind of environment you are looking for, depending on those kind of schools. I really recommend the 7th and 8th grade academic programs to any parents who are looking into middle schools, because I feel like being in that high school environment really allows you to see what kind of opportunities are up ahead and really take those advanced classes as well. I don't know if any of the other high school students that are still on, do you guys want to talk about your 7th and 8th grade experiences or middle school experiences that led you to the high school you're currently at?
I could talk a little bit about this. So I came from a pretty average elementary school. It's called Andrew Jackson Language Academy. I believe they changed the name to Chicago World Language Academy. I'm not sure, but I went to the Lane Tech Academic Center, and that program was amazing. I mean, I think that those 2 years was like one of my favorite years by far. And it really did help prepare me for high school a lot better, just because although I did change schools, I was a lot more prepared. I kind of knew what was going on. And the way the academic center works is you don't fully go into high school just yet. So it's not like a normal elementary school to high school transition. You don't kind of just like jump in and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? It's kind of in a more protected environment. And at least for Lane, I'm not sure about the other ones, but the majority of our classes kind of just stayed on one floor. So we kind of were just always together. We would come together, and although, I mean, if we took a language class or any of the normal other high school classes, we would be with the rest of in the rest of the building. But just generally speaking, it was a pretty smooth transition, and I would definitely recommend it.
Thank you so much, Loyan. And yeah, I definitely echo those sentiments.
I can speak a little bit. I went to South Loop Elementary School from kindergarten to 8th grade, so I stayed there for a long time. They're pretty good. I know that they dropped because they transferred their gifted kids to another school because it was just getting too crowded. So they have dropped the rankings because of that. But I went there K through 8th. The selective enrollment process is, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty stressful. Your entire 7th grade, you're just stressing about grades, because if you get 1B, you're probably not gonna be able to get into Jones or Peyton or Whitney Young unless you get like really, really good like scores on the NWA and really good scores on the entrance exam. And also you live in like a lower tier neighborhood. So it's like a really stressful process of your entire 7th grade is just like, oh God, oh God, oh God, what if I get a B? You know, so it's a lot resting on how old are you in 7th grade? Like 13?
Mm-hmm.
That's younger than that. Like that's a lot of stress for like a 12-year-old to handle. But I don't know. I think it's worth it because selective enrollment schools, they're selective enrollment for a reason. You're gonna be getting the highest quality education. I think it's worth it, but it's also very stressful. So, you know, pick your battles.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tiffany. And I do think that it allows students, to just get a taste of what kind of high stress environments they're going to meet in high school and of course in college as well. I noticed we did have April also on the line. April, did you also want to just share a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So in my 8th grade experience, our teachers made it very clear about what they recommended for us. There were many like academic nights. They had them for various fields. I remember we had one specifically for music and all about the orchestras. There was a couple for like the arts programs and for business as well. And then when it was like, if you want to get honors recs or APs, they told you like how to assemble your class schedule. They did warn us in advance, like, hey, it's going to be stressful. But then they also accommodated us. I feel like a lot of us were very stressed and we didn't have to be, but they definitely like hold their fears. They're like, you have to take the PSAT, but it's not that bad. And for our AP classes, you can choose between 2 AP history classes your freshman year. It's AP World and AP Human Geography. And what the history teachers would do is like, if they thought you were ready for that, they'd come to you and they'd ask you, which one of these 2 courses do you want me to recommend you for? And I went to Gregory Middle School, so 204, and I'd say a lot of 203 schools are similar in that they very clearly lay out like where you can go in high school, and they're very helpful with that. It relieves a lot of stress and a lot of confusion early on.
Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And I saw that Shania is we have an audience that is also asking a question. And do you want to? Okay.
Oh, did you raise your hand as well?
Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about like my academic process if there's enough time. Actually, I have like a different like experience of it. Starting from like first grade, I switched schools like a lot. From first grade, I spent a year at Alexander Graham Bell. On second grade, I spent it at National Teachers Academy in Chinatown. And from third to sixth grade, I was at my dating classical. And from seventh to eighth grade, I was at Skinner West. So I switched like a lot of schools. So I didn't really like commit to like any school, but I feel like personally, the teachers again in every school really matter a lot. Personally in sixth grade, my teacher helped me a lot with my like personal like skills and like managing your leadership skills and also community skills. He was like really strict, which is really what shaped my goals. As for like applying for high school, I actually like didn't I was pretty chill in seventh grade. And I ended up with like I think like 1 or 2 Bs, which is like pretty surprising. But I think the one that saved me was probably like Tiffany said, the NWA and high school entrance exam. I think that's probably the biggest part is I got perfect score on entrance exam, which probably saved me from like not being accepted at Jones. So I think that was really important. Like no matter if you didn't get the grades that you want or like the grades that you hope to get for, you know, have like a chance in the the entrance exam for high school.
So, oh, sorry, just a quick follow-up, Shania. Did you study for the entrance exams, everything by yourself, or did you also get outside help?
So last year I didn't get any outside help. I just like studied a little bit by myself, like going over Khan Academy, IXL. They also have test prep books. I don't know if it applies a lot, but there are already private school test prep books that actually have the same similar content they have in entrance exam, which can be kind of helpful.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
So much. And Lian, so is Lian still over there? So because lab is a totally is a private school, so and it is already very difficult to get into lab when in the elementary level. So could you share a little bit with us about how did you get into lab in 7th grade?
Yeah, so I mean, there's like an entrance exam. I prepared like quite a bit for it, but I think it's also like really like for lab, like the shadow day is really important and making like a good impression on your teachers. You also have a teacher that like interviews you, and I just try to make sure to like speak as much as possible and like kind of let him to like know the type of person I am. So I think like, and also like the essay like that you have to write on the test like about yourself. I think that's also like really important. I think they're mostly like trying to find like what type of person you are. And also, yeah, of course, like the entrance exam matters, but I found like that the shadow day was it also gives you a lot of insight like on how the school works.
Great, thank you. And yeah, so we actually have a okay, so yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, so we have one more question is about how to, because we all know that high school students have so much to do, and it could be there's a lot of stress over there. So how do your school, because a lot of our high schoolers already talk about how their schools counselors or they're helping with your stress and other kind of problems. So usually, I mean, how can you explain to us, share with us a little bit more about how your school help you to just reduce stress and like anxiety, this kind of emotional moves. Thank you.
I'm gonna talk about this one. I think this goes to say for all schools, but like obviously since mental health is such a big problem in like our generation now, a lot of schools will offer like mental health resources. And always when you're in classes or when you're doing like extracurriculars, all your teachers or your coaches always tell you if you have a problem, you need to reach out, or you can always talk to me for support, talk to your parents, talk to your counselor. So I think a lot of what is emphasized in school right now is to have a very good support system or support network. It doesn't necessarily have to be through like a school counselor or like a school psychologist, but there are services in place in school if you need them, if you want to use your friends, or if you want to use a therapist outside of school. It's just everybody's trying to make sure you have a very good support network, because it's a given that while you're in high school, while you're doing exams, while you're having finals, you're going to get some amount of stress. You're going to get some amount of like mental pressure, especially if you're like a high achiever, you put like expectations on yourself. So it's more about having that system, being able to like get support you need and being able to control yourself when you're getting stressed.
Thank you for sharing that, Helen. I think we are coming to the close of our webinar. We have talked for almost 2 hours, and I really, really appreciate all of our student representatives here today to giving their time outside of right before their finals week to come talk to us about their schools. I want to especially thank Meng from the Chinese Neighborhood Parents Association, as well as Miss Lee from Cornerstone Education for supporting us, and as well as the Youth Voices organization. We have Zach and actually a couple other members from Youth Voices here today, as well as student representatives. They have done great work, and they are an amazing organization for any young students to join. I highly, highly recommend it. And then we also have our other sponsor, the Chicago International 4-H Club, who is able to provide a bunch of projects and events for our neighborhood kids. Give me 1 second. If anybody has any questions, you can please contact Meng as well as Mrs. Lee. I'm sure you guys have their information through our contacts, and we can contact them individually, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. The recording of today's events will be available for viewing. We will send that through an email, as well as post that on our social medias. Thank you everyone so much for attending. Oh, there we go. The admin at cnpcps.org, or you can send questions to me at timhe@future-innovators. Let me get my email up there. If you guys have any questions, that is it for us tonight. Thank you all for staying, and I hope to talk with you guys soon.